A couple days ago was the Black Ops 6 Direct, and a lot of people, myself included, thought that the game looked pretty good. But with that being said, there are a lot of people that think this game looks bad. So with all the discussion, I put a post on my community page asking for your Black Ops 6 hot takes. Make sure you subscribe and stay tuned to my community tab if you want to be in the next hot takes video. But with that being said, let's get to the first hot take. The first hot take is from a channel member, Dark Ops 4. Thank you for being a channel member, but he says they should try a different story instead of the Dark Ether story. Dark Ether has been incredibly uninteresting, and more often than not is the worst part of a modern zombies map. I do somewhat agree with this. Ever since Cold War, ever since they started this Dark Ether story, the story just hasn't connected, and that's for two reasons. One, most zombie maps that have released since Cold War haven't been that interesting, but more importantly, and the reason why I think that this might change, is because we never had a set crew so far in this story. All we've had are a couple people talking over comms. And now that it is confirmed that in Black Ops 6 we will be getting a set crew, maybe they'll be able to turn this story around and do something good with it. Especially since this is the first game in the Dark Ether story that Treyarch had the proper amount of time to make a game in. But to summarize my point more or less, yes, the Dark Ether story has been very boring and uninteresting ever since it started, but with Treyarch actually having enough time to flesh out this title, along with there being a dedicated crew, I really think this story can see a nice turnaround. Trent Nichols says, I hope Outbreak makes some return. I honestly didn't hate it. Just can take time to get to areas and upgrades. Okay, that was a bit of a word salad. Maps are a fire team and objectives can be boring, but if they fix it, I think it could work. I think I do agree with this, just with an asterisk next to it. I would not mind seeing Outbreak return, but it cannot, no matter the circumstances, it cannot be the devs' priority. Round-based should remain the devs' priority for the rest of the time. It would have been fine if they did it in Cold War and then slowly added updates every now and again, but the fact that from February to June or something, Outbreak was the main focus of zombies and round-based got almost nothing, that's what made a lot of people, myself included, start to not like Outbreak. Well, one of them anyway. Obviously, there's a lot of things that were wrong with it, like you said. The maps were reused from Fireteam Dirty Bomb, from Cold War's multiplayer. The objectives got a little repetitive, especially like the escort one and the defense one. Those two are so boring. And that point system needs to go too. If you want us to explore the maps, then you need to make it to where you get more points from killing zombies than you do for completing objectives. Completing objectives should not be the main way to earn points in Outbreak. I'm pretty sure it was leaked that Black Ops 6 will be getting Outbreak in it in some form. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. Like, I don't know if it's going to be something like in Cold War or if it's going to be something completely new. I don't know. That wasn't announced at the Direct, so I guess we'll just leave it here. Zodic says, I think it's a good thing that Gobblegums will be obtained in game rather than them being pay to win. Okay, let me stop you right there. As nice as that sounds, that's not how it's gonna be. Let's be real. Gobblegums will be a microtransaction of some capacity. Them saying that they can be earned in game is not them saying that they can only be earned in game. And that's how it was in BO3, that's how it was in Infinite Warfare, World War II, BO4. All those games that had microtransactions, you could still earn all of them without spending a single penny on them. You 100% will be able to buy them. I mean, you technically can already buy them because you get, I think it's 12 free Gobblegums for buying the $100 Vault Edition. So technically, they already are kind of a microtransaction, but one way or another, Gobblegums will be something that you can buy in game. Most people won't, like they did with Gobblegums and with elixirs. Most people will just get them for free, but if you want to buy them, you'll have the option to. That's the beauty of zombies being a PvE game. You can play the game however you want to. If you want to make it more interesting, more fun, you can rock the Gobblegums, but if you want to make it more difficult and you want to have the authentic experience, then you don't have to use them. It just provides more choices to different players, and that's why Gobblegums are so great. Sorry, I just went off on a little tangent there. Thunderstruck says, with 4 years of development time, only 2 round-based maps at launch isn't enough. BO4 had 4 at launch with a shorter dev cycle. Now, you are right, BO4 only had 2.5 years of development, and they managed to get 4 zombie maps out. Everyone was so excited for that, remember? And then launch happened, where none of them functioned properly. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, I want quality over quantity. If they manage to pull a BO3, where there's 2 launch maps, one of them is extremely simple, like the Giant, it's a remaster, not much effort put into it, but it's still a really fun map. And then they have the complex map like Shadows of Evil, where it's just so detailed and there's so many secrets, and it's a lot of fun with a ton of replay value, and it's gonna take you a while to master. I'd much rather have that than have 4 okay, not very functional maps on launch. We'll have to see how the game is on launch and how repetitive and how in-depth these maps are. And if it turns out that they aren't very in-depth and they're very cookie cutter, then 100% this is a fair critique to have. But like I said, if they're the quality of of like BO3 or even World War II zombies, then I am perfectly fine with only having 2. And continuing with what I was just talking about with the last hot take, the next hot take kind of pertains to that as well. And it's from John Crawley, and he says, if these 2 maps have loads of content and story, the set crew being at least a little funny, wonder weapons that are intriguing and kill effortlessly, and Easter eggs with above average difficulty and good fights, this could be the best zombies launch since BO3. Yes, yes, yes. Like I just said with the last hot take, if these maps are super in-depth with a ton of replay value that keep me coming back for months, like BO3 did, then that's all I need. I don't need 4 maps on launch. As much as I love BO4, I would have rather have had 3 or even 2 maps on launch and them being perfectly flawless rather than what it did in BO4. But I have a lot of hope for this game, and one of those reasons is because if y'all look, I'll put a picture of this on screen right now, but in the Black Ops 6 Direct, Kevin Drew had the Gobblegum sitting on 2 books. One of those books is called Thanks for the Feedback, and then the book under it is a Black Ops 3 Player's Manual. So knowing how much he cared about our feedback, if they actually fixed all the stuff that we've been complaining about and added replay value back into zombies, then 100% this will be a fantastic launch. Harrison says if they don't invent new perks, Black Ops 6 should do what Cold War did with Death Perception and give some BO4 perks another chance. Yeah, I think that would be cool. Yeah, if they brought back like Bandolier Bandit or Stone Cold Stronghold, Blaze Phase, and somehow made those perks runnable, like must runs, then that would be really cool. I don't know if they're going to keep the same upgrade system that they had in Cold War. I doubt it, but if they do keep it, then they should bring back perks like Who's Who, Vulture Aid, Widow's Wine, stuff like that. The next hot take is from Weaver, and he's a little upset about Gobblegums returning. He says, y'all complained and complained about how Cold War was bad because it's too easy, but now that the overpowered gumballs are back, y'all are suddenly excited again? Make up your mind. I don't get what people don't understand about this. People don't like gumballs because it makes the game easy. They like gumballs because it makes the game more fun with more replay value. It's objectively true. If you have more ways to play the game, you have more reasons to come back to it. And a lot of people didn't only run the OP Gobblegums. I mean, speaking for me, some of my favorite Gobblegums and elixirs ever are the ones that are worthless, like Quacknarok, Newtonian Negation, Projectile Vomiting, Tone Death, because it's just the little things that keep you coming back. Like, Gobblegums are overpowered, but they don't change how you play the game at its core, like what the skill trees did with Cold War, and how Cold War was balanced. Gobblegums are optional. You can use them to be overpowered if you want, or you can use no Gobblegums. You have the option. But the fact is, Gobblegums add more replay value. I mean, look at Codename Pizza's Myth-Busting series. That man literally put food on his table for 5 years just by using random Gobblegums in random scenarios on Black Ops 3. And I don't get the big deal about Gobblegums. Why do everyone complain about Gobblegums? Zombies is a PvE game, so if they bring an optional mechanic into the game that the vast majority of people love, why are you so upset about it? Like, I'm not trying to sound like a dick, I'm genuinely asking. Why is it such a big deal for you? Channel member Nuke Man says, hot take emoji, the game is gonna slap and people will eat their own words. I mean, we'll have to see. Trust me, I want it to slap. Even before the Direct, I was like, I want it to be good, I just don't have much faith in Treyarch anymore. That faith has been restored somewhat, but for it to fully be restored, this game has to slap on launch. We cannot have a catastrophe like we did in BO4. We cannot have a Vanguard situation. We need this game to slap, and we need the community back in full force on launch. Dynasty says, if this game is just Cold War 2.0, I'll be happy the game was great, just different. With the way the COD engine is today and how it feels, BO3 mechanics wouldn't work as well, and would make a worse game if they tried to base it off that. Yeah, 100%. I mean, they're on the Modern Warfare engine. They can't just make it like BO2 again. They'd have to get a completely different engine for that, and I'm pretty sure Call of Duty has stated that every single title since I think Modern Warfare 19 will be released off the same engine. That's a terrible decision on Activision's part because it just makes every single COD made by any developer feel pretty similar to the other ones. But unfortunately, I don't think the Zombies team has much say in it, so they just have to play with the hand they're dealt, more or less. Carpedium, or I don't know. I'm probably saying that wrong, but he has 3 hot takes, and we're gonna read them one at a time. First, he says, Gobblegum shouldn't have returned. They take away a lot of the challenge that BO1 and BO2 had, as well as making the game less fun. Alright, well, like I said with the hot take a couple minutes ago, if you don't like Gobblegums, then just don't use them. That's what's so great about them. They're optional. If you want to use them and be hella overpowered, you can. But if you don't want to use them, then you don't have to. The game's not forcing you to. The second hot take says Dark Ethers should have been scrapped after Cold War. They're all over the place with this story, and it's a confusing mess. Should have done a brand new story unrelated to the Ether storyline. I'm going to give the Dark Ether story one more chance. Hopefully they can get this story under control and tell an actual good story, because I read all the intel on Cold War, and I did all the Easter eggs and stuff. I just didn't find the story that interesting. And in Vanguard and Modern Warfare 3, when they were both developed in less than 6 months, how are you supposed to get invested in that story too? So since this is the first time of the Dark Ether story where it has a full development cycle, I'm going to give it one more chance and just see where they go with it. Especially with a dedicated crew now, they can make this story good if they try. And the third hot take, he says, they better have reverted all the change they made from Black Ops 4 to Modern Warfare Zombies. Point system, perks, pack-a-punch, HUD, streaks, workbench, loot, etc. all should be removed, and the BO3 pack and point system should return. No more 30k pack-a-punch, no more 30k perks. It should be a set price and not increase in value after buying a perk. Okay, so addressing the last sentence first. Yes, I do agree with this. 30,000, 50,000, 60,000 points to pack-a-punch, whatever it is in whatever game. That's stupid. It should not be that much. BO4 was pushing it with 15,000, and y'all tripled the price in the next game. It should just be 5,000 a pack-a-punch. And yes, they should bring back set perk prices, because that added more strategy to the game. You could either buy Quick Revive for 500 points to get a second chance, or you can save up to get extra health with Juggernog for 2,500 points. But the only way I feel like they could bring that back is if they also bring back the OG point system. Black Ops 4's wasn't the worst, since it was damage-based points, so you could still kind of do the old point system strat of shooting a couple times to get extra points, but still it was a major step back from the classic point system. And in Cold War, it's kill-based points, so you can't even do that. You have to fully kill a zombie before you get points for it. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. I really do hope they bring back the OG point system. And just real quick, you say they better reverted all the changes they made from BO4 to Modern Warfare. You can't just make a blanket statement like that. There are some good changes that they made in those games. Like for example, in Cold War, the trial machine, and the grenades being super overpowered. Black Ops 4 brought upgradable specialists, which you can feel about how you want about starting with the specialist. That's one discussion, but the fact that you can upgrade them to get extra abilities just adds more replay value to it. Also in Cold War, the alternate ammo type boss enemy weaknesses. That's another small yet very important change. So you can't just say that they should revert all the changes, just maybe 80% of them. That's good enough. Jacob says, Gunsmith is going to make this game unbearable, just like the previous games. No gun should take 50, bad word, levels to be usable. That's one of the worst things about modern Call of Duty, at least for a zombies player anyway. Needing to level up your gun all the way to level 50 to unlock the challenges, I just feel like that's artificially extending the mastery camo grind. Like if you want to do that, just make the challenges really hard. I would rather have a grind like in BO4 where I had to get 3,600 headshots on most of my guns to unlock the other challenges. I'd rather have it like that than just grinding to level up the gun for 8 hours and then I can start on the challenges. Mr. Neon says, bringing back round-based maps will not be the full solution people think zombies needs. Since Cold War, the gameplay formula changed completely, as early round progression and using the box was thrown out the window by creator class. Fan favorites like the main and side Easter eggs will never be the same like in BO3, as they opted to handhold players into making the Easter egg more akin to mission objectives, with markers and text-based checklists. As a disappointed fan who never bought COD since Cold War, I have low expectations for BO6 and don't plan to buy it unless proven otherwise. If that's your opinion, that's great. Honestly, this is the opinion that most of you should have. You should wait to pre-order until we see gameplay to know that it is 100% a good game. And this was my mentality for the longest time, since like Cold War's launch all the way until probably yesterday. But the reason my opinion changed is, again, even though we barely saw anything, Kevin Drew put those books in the background that we were talking about earlier for a reason. He wanted to let us know that even though we weren't seeing a lot of stuff, he did listen to the complaints that we had in Cold War, Vanguard, and Modern Warfare 3. And I'd like to think, and again, this could just be me coping, but I'd like to think if he went out of his way to buy a book called Thanks for the Feedback, just to have it in the background so the hardcore zombies community would be able to hunt down this book and figure out what it says. I feel like he was directly talking to us. And why would he feel the need to talk to the hardcore community unless he was trying to say that, hey, this isn't going to be the same game that we had in the past couple years. We actually are trying to make this game more palatable for you guys. Again, like I said, it could just be massive copium on my behalf, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And the last hot take is from Jacob Fleming, and he says the game will be fun for the first week, then people will go back to playing BO3 customs. I've seen you put this in a lot of people's comment sections, so you seem to be pretty certain about this. We haven't seen that much game footage yet, so before you can just say something like that, we need to see how the game looks. Again, this is not like Vanguard, not like Modern Warfare Zombies where the devs had 6 months to make the game. This is not like Cold War where Treyarch had to step in at the last minute and save the game. This was a Treyarch game built from the ground up. They had 4 years of development. If somehow they managed to fumble so badly that people will stop playing this game after 1 week, then Zombies needs to go away. That's just it. Because if they can't make something good in 4 years in a whole presidential term, they can't even make a good video game, then they just don't need to be doing it anymore, you know? But like I said in the last hot take, something's telling me, I got this sneaky suspicion that this game's gonna be different. Again, it could just be me coping. I genuinely think that Black Ops 6 will take Zombies into a new and great direction. Thank you all so much for watching, I really do appreciate it. If you guys have a hot take that I didn't put in this video, feel free to comment it down below. Also, if your hot take was in this video and you have a rebuttal, again, feel free to put it in the comments. Shout out to all my members, thank you so much for supporting me. If you guys want to go watch more hot takes videos, then click the card on the screen right now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.